Welcome to Legacy IS Academy. Today we are going to discuss Mains GS Paper 2 of 2020. So first of all, we will see how many questions UPSC has asked in every section. Like we have polity, we have social justice, governance and international relation. From polity, UPSC has asked 10 questions. From social justice, UPSC has asked 4 questions. From governance, UPSC has asked 2 questions. And from international relation, UPSC has asked again 4 questions. These questions may vary from year to year. Okay. Here we are going to discuss again from question number 1. Question number 1 says constitutional morality is rooted in constitution itself and is founded on its essential facet. Explain the doctrine of constitutional morality with the help of relevant judicial decision. So whenever in UPSC, if you write the questions, first of all, you have to understand the context of the question. Second thing is you have to see the directive words, because whatever you know, you should not write everything. You have to write as per directive words. Here directive words is explain. It just means you have to explain the statement. You have to explain the statement with relevant example and judicial decision. So here, first of all, in introductions, you have to write what is constitutional morality. If you see the context of the question, in Hindu we have seen the article. The article regarding safeguarding constitutional morality. Even in Supreme Court, in Sabrimala case defined what is constitutional morality. Moreover, in ethics paper, we know what is morality. Morality means the values which help to decide what is right and what is wrong. Here, constitutional morality also help to decide what is right and what is wrong. It means there are certain values like justice, values like equality, values like liberty, values like religious rights, cultural right. These are the values which are enshrined in our Indian constitution. These values has to uphold. Here you have to give certain relevant constitutional judgment regarding Sabrimala. One thing you can give. Second thing you can give triple talaq and other judgment. So here simply, first of all, if you're going to write this particular question in introductions, you have to write what is constitutional morality. Okay, second thing is you have to clearly mention a country has to govern as per constitutional morality, not for social morality. Then you have to write features of constitutional morality like justice, equality, liberty, religious right, cultural right with with Supreme Court relevant example. And in conclusion, you can mention how organs of the government. It is not only responsibility of the judiciary to uphold the constitutional morality. It is a duty of legislative, executive as well as judiciary. So in that note, you can conclude your answer. So this answer is not much difficult because already UPSC has asked question on constitutional morality in 2019 also. So this is not much difficult questions. Okay, we have to write it. Second question is discuss the desirability of greater representation to women in higher judiciary to ensure diversity, to ensure equity, and to ensure inclusiveness. So first of all, you have to see the context. Context is our Honorable Chief Justice of India has raised the concern we have less number of women in higher judiciary. We have less number of women in higher judiciary. That is the context. Here I gave some data also. So as per this data, we can see that women's representation women's representation in judiciary is very less. Okay, that is the context of the question. Okay, after knowing the context, you have to know the directive word. Directive word is discuss. It means you have to discuss the questions in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusivity. So how to frame or how to make the structure of this particular questions. In intro, simply you have to give data or status of women in higher judiciary. After giving this data, you have to mention, participation of women in higher judiciary is very low. That's why we have to increase participation of women because of following reason, or what is its significance in the body part, how it help to bring diversity, how it help to bring equity, and how it help to bring inclusiveness. And then you have to give the conclusion also. In conclusion, you can mention under article 15 sub clause 3, article empowered to state to bring state to take measures to improve the status of women. That article you can mention. You can also mention it is a time we can give the reservation to women in higher judiciary. In that note, you can conclude your answer. So this answer is again not difficult because our honorable CGI raised the voice. When CGI or honorable CGI is telling something, we have to prepare that topic very well. Come to the question number 3. In question number 3, here how have the recommendation of 14th Finance Commission of India enabled the state to improve their fiscal position? So here you have to know two things. Under Article 280 of Indian Constitution, we have our Finance Commission. Okay, and in paper 3 we have our fiscal policy. So here you have to know the role of Finance Commission and how this Finance Commission is essential for fiscal federalism. Okay. So first of all, what is the context of the question? Context of the question is recently 15th Finance Commission gave its report. When we are preparing 15th Finance Commission's report, we have to study 14th Finance Commission report also, and we have to see comparative analysis, because in 14th Finance Commission has raised divisible pool of state from 32% to 42%. It is a drastic increase of fiscal space for the state. So here, when state divisible pool has increased from 32% to 42%, it means definitely it is going to improve their fiscal position. Okay, so first of all, in introduction you have to mention 15th Finance Commission, and you can also mention 14th Finance Commission, or you can start your introduction by just mentioning Article 280 of Indian Constitution establish Finance Commission in India. Then you have to mention some provisions of 14th Finance Commission. Then you have to mention their significance part. After mentioning significance, you also mention issues related to fiscal position of state, what the status of fiscal deficit, revenue deficit, it is also increasing in its state. And then you have to give your conclusion. In that note, you can write this particular question. Now, question number 3, to what extent in your view the parliament is able to ensure accountability of executive in India? It is very direct question, but we have to careful about this directive word. Direct question, we know that in a democracy, legislative ensure accountability of executive. Okay, question is to what extent parliament is able to ensure accountability. So here we have seen, and then second thing is you have to know the context of the question also. In context of the question, in Hindu we have seen multiple articles. These articles talked about reducing the role of parliament in democracy. Reducing the role of parliament in democracy, like role of parliament, one of the parliament role is to hold the government accountable, but it failed. So how you have to frame your how you have to frame the structure of this particular question? In introduction you have to simply mention that democracy depends when executive is accountable toward legislative, and here role of parliament is very crucial to ensure accountability of legislative, accountability of executive toward legislative. Then in body you have to mention what are the tools, parliament has to ensure accountability of executive toward legislative. It have no confidence motion, passing of the budget, various tool parliament has. Then you have also mentioned issues regarding to uphold this accountability toward legislative. And then you have, in conclusion or way forward, you have to mention how we can ensure accountability of executive toward legislative. This is the way you can write this particular question. This is very direct question, and whenever we are reading even Lakshmikant also and other notes also, we have to prepare this particular topic. Then pressure group play a vital role in influencing public policy making in India. So this is again very direct question. In our syllabus we have pressure group. Pressure groups are mentioned in our syllabus. Okay, so we have to prepare pressure group very well. Role of pressure group in public policy making. So in introduction, like we have seen this farmer protest also, we have seen Kisan unions also. These all are type of pressure groups, or how or what type of role they are playing as this present time. So in introduction, simply you have to define what is pressure group. Then you have to mention pressure groups can be various types. One types we have business association. In the body part you have to mention, and then you have to look keywords also. Keyword just explain. It means it is not examine, it is not discuss, it is not analyze. You have to just explain the role of business association in public policies. Role of business association. So business association we have FICCI, we have other business association, and their role in policy making, in policy implementation you have to mention, and then give your conclusion. In conclusion you can mention how we can strengthen this pressure group. That is very direct question, and it is not much difficult to write 150 words. Then beside being a moral imperative of welfare state, primary health structure is necessary preconditions for sustainable development. Okay, you have to analyze context. We have COVID-19, and in COVID-19 we have seen multiple challenges health structure in India is facing, and then in Hindu also we have seen various articles regarding health structure in India. In health structure you have seen role of the primary health care. If you see, maximum people depend on primary health care. then secondary healthcare, and tertiary healthcare. If you see, structure is like this. The funding is primary healthcare, secondary healthcare, and tertiary healthcare. This is inverted pyramid. So we have to address this particular problem. So here, and when we talked about welfare state, our DPSP, Directive Principle of State Policy, established India as a welfare state. It means Indian government will take various measures regarding health, education, skills, etc. Okay, so first of all, you can start your introductions while mentioning India is a welfare state which is established by DPSP. And here again analyze in the sense you have to mention in the body you have to mention importance of universal or importance of primary health structure for health in India. So first you have to mention importance or significance part. After mentioning significance, you have to mention various challenges also. And then you have to mention government measures to address these challenges, and then give way forward. In way forward, you have to give your own opinion to address these challenges. So this is the way you can write this particular question. And again, this particular question is not much difficult. It is easy to write. Come to the question number 7. Earn while you learn scheme. Earn while you learn scheme need to be strengthened to make vocational education and skill training meaningful. Again, comment. Whenever the word comment or directive words comment will come, it simply mean to what extent you are agree with the giving statement. Are you agree or disagree or partially agree and partially disagree with this particular statement? So how to frame this particular statement? In Hindu also we have seen multiple articles regarding importance of vocational education and skill training in India. So first of all, you have to mention in intro status of vocational education. Status of vocational education in India, definitely it is poor. You can give any report also. Then in the body you have to mention role of education or role of vocational education. Okay, then you have to mention challenges part. Okay, then or you also mention to what extent this scheme is going to help. You have to mention other than that this scheme what other things government has to do, and then give your conclusion. In conclusion, you can mention new education policy, emphasize more on vocational education. In this way, you can write this particular question. Now, can the vicious cycle of gender inequality, poverty, malnutrition be broken through microfinance of women, means self-help group? This is again direct question from our syllabus. When we see the context, our honorable Prime Minister interact with women self-help group in Atmanirbhar Nari Shakti Se Samvad. So again, this is the context where UPSC framed this particular question. You know, inequality, gender inequality perpetuate in poverty. Poverty again lead to malnutrition. Again, malnutrition lead to gender inequality. This is the vicious cycle we have, or how to what extent this vicious cycle can be broken through self-help group. And the directive words we have explained. It just means you have to explain or you have to prove this statement. You have to mention self-help group will reduce gender inequality, it will fight against poverty, and then the status of women will increase. Automatically it is going to address the malnutrition in India also. So in introduction, In intro simply you have to mention about self-help group and role in women empowerment. In the body part you have to mention role of self-help group to address inequality, gender inequality, gender inequality in their home also, in public place also, in economy also, in society also. Okay, this gender inequality will be addressed through self-help group. Then you have to mention when gender inequality is reducing in economy, automatically it is going to address the poverty, and then when poverty is reducing, automatically it will improve the health status, and then you have to give your way forward. Means what government has to do to improve the status of self-help group in India. In this way you can write this particular question. Again, this is not much difficult question because this question UPSC has asked from direct from our syllabus. But then the USA is facing existential threat in the form of China that is much more challenging than the erstwhile Soviet Union. So explain. Here again the directive word is explain. Now we have seen multiple areas where China and USA are fighting with each other, like trade war, in terms of geopolitical regions also. Both China and USA have multiple challenges with each other. So here first of all directive word is explain. Okay, second thing is, if you see like in Cold War era, we have seen the Cold War era where USA and USSR have a ideological war. Now that time USA was close to China and Pakistan. Now we have seen multiple challenges between USA and China, where China is cooperating with Russia and Pakistan. So this is the biggest challenge USA is facing as of now. So how to write this particular question? You just explain in introduction. You can give the context. You can give the context of this particular question where China and USA are fighting with each other. After writing introductions, you have to come to the body. Okay, in the body you have to see what type of challenges USA is facing as of now in terms of trade, in terms of foreign reserve, in terms of geopolitical, like we have in challenges in West Asia, in Central Asia, and we have challenges in Indo-Pacific region. Okay, then you have to mention in the conclusion, you have to mention role of India to ensure or to make a balance. In this way you can write this particular question. Come to the question number 11. Here jurisdiction of Central Bureau of Investigation regarding lodging an FIR and conducting proof within a particular state is being questioned by various states. Okay. However, the power of state to withhold consent to the CBI is not absolute. Explain. So whenever you are reading the question, you have to read very carefully, and then you have to see the directive words also. As per this directive word, you have to write your answer. If it is discuss, it is explain, it is examine, it is evaluate, in that note you have to frame your structure of the body, and then with the special reference to federal character of India. What type of federal character we have? Federal character of India is quasi judicial. Okay, that way you have to understand where center is much powerful than the state. In that note, you have to explain this particular statement. Okay, in the context we have seen multiple article where this consent was withdrawn by the state. So here in introduction you just write about CBI and its power. Then you have to explain this statement, to what extent this state can withhold the consent to the CBI. In the body you have to mention what type of federal character we have, like India have. Okay, that things you have to mention, and then you have to mention how and what way center can influence the decision of the state also, and then you have to give your conclusion. That way you can write this particular question. Okay, again this is not much difficult because this topic remain in the news. Whenever any topic remain in the news and articles are coming in Hindu newspaper, we have to prepare those topics very well. Again this topic is all about like human right commission, about National Human Right Commission, and we have to analyze its role. Means we have to analyze the structure, the practical limitation, and suggest remedial measures. Getting my point? So one side or we have state, and one other side we have citizen. And these citizens, our constitution provide fundamental right to these citizens, and these fundamental right sometimes may be compromised by the state actions, like if Aadhaar Act came, it may compromise privacy of the individual, or how and the role to ensure to make a balance between state and citizens. We have National Human Right Commission. So here we have to analyze the role of National Human Right Commission in terms, or to create a balance between state and the citizen. So here, to what extent National Human Right Commission can ensure this balance? So we have to look National Human Right Commission in terms of its structure, its practical limitation, and remedial measures. So in those dimensions you have to write the structure of your answer. Introduction just define National Human Rights Commissions. Then simply you have to mention one side we have powerful state, other side we have citizens, or to ensure or to protect the rights of the citizens. The role of National Human Rights Commissions become very important. In the body part you have to analyze the role in terms of structure, practical limitation, and remedial measures, and then conclude your particular answer. Now we have analyzed the distinguished features of notion of equality in the constitution of USA and India. Equality, okay, equality is essential features of democracy. Again you have to analyze. Here this is very static topic, and we know equality, liberty, fraternity, all those features are essential to establish a democracy. And we know that, okay, what type of equality we are following. It is mentioned on of equality. Nature of equality in India is mentioned in Article 14. Article 14 clearly says that India have equality before law, and protection, equal protection of law. Equality before law we have taken from UK, and equal protection of law we have taken from USA. So once you have this clear understanding about equality or nature of equality in India, then easily we can differentiate. We can say that in UK equality before law and equal protection of law we have taken from USA. Okay, so our equality or nature of equality is different from USA because India is very diverse country in terms of language, in terms of religion, in terms of race, in terms of caste. Okay, India is very diverse country, and the type of equality USA is following, we have little different type of equality India is following. So if you have depth understanding about the equality, then this topic is not much difficult. So in introduction, you just define about the equality. Equality, it means it talked about equal status and equal opportunities. Then you have to mention this equality varies from there are differences between equality which is followed in India and USA. In the body part, you have to just give the difference between India and USA. You have to mention some articles also, and then you have to give the conclusion. In conclusion, you have to mention why and this how and why this equality is very important to uphold the democracy. In that way, you can conclude your answer. Now, question number 14. Explain the constitutional provision under which Legislative Council was established. Explain. Very direct question. If you are reading polity or you are preparing polity, we have to know these provisions. It is not much difficult. Review the working. When you are reviewing the working, you know the positive, you know the negative. In Hindu also we have seen the article regarding Legislative Council pool said to redraw equation in Karnataka. So first of all, this is not much difficult question. In introduction, just mention about Legislative Council. Then you have to mention about constitutional provisions. You have to mention significance. You have to mention issues part, and then give way forward. So I will suggest this is not much difficult questions. We can easily write this question in the exam. Do department-rated parliamentary standing committee keep the administration on its toes and inspire reverence of parliamentary control? You have, like as I told, from last 1 year we have seen multiple articles regarding control of parliament over government. So parliament control over government and ensure executive accountability toward legislative. But due to various reasons, parliamentary control over government is continuously reducing. Then the questions come, to what extent these parliamentary standing committees can ensure accountability of government toward parliament. That is the question. We know that the control of parliament is reducing over the government because of disruptions, various other issues we have. In 10 marks, we have seen one question. Even again in 15 marks, UPSC asks same question in different context. So here, role of parliamentary standing committee we have to analyze in terms of parliamentary control over government. So here you have to give, means you have to evaluate in the sense, again evaluate, you have to mention provisions of parliamentary committees. Then you have to mention significance, you have to mention challenges also, or you have to mention negatives also, and then you have to give way forward. In that way, you can easily write this particular question. And again, this is a direct question. We are studying static like parliamentary standing committee. Then has digital illiteracy, particularly in rural areas, coupled with lack of information and communication technology. Coupled with lack of information and communication technology, accessibility hindered socio-economic development. Okay, examine with justification. It means to what extent lack of digital literacy lead to socio-economic development or lead to poor socio-economic development. So here, first of all, you have to understand because of COVID, we have seen digital education become very important. But what happened when we talked about these poor people? These poor people does not have digital literacy. Whenever they do not have a digital literacy, it may impact socio-economic development also. So here, you have to mention lack of ICT lead poor socio-economic development. You have to find other regions also. Means examine in the sense you have to say not only digital literacy lead to poor socio-economic development, there are various other regions also like societal attitude, other physical connectivity, other education, awareness, poor governance, all those things also you have to mention. And then you have to mention how we can address problem regarding digital literacy also, and other measures you have to suggest. So again, this topic is not again much difficult. In governance, we have e-governance also. The topic e-governance we have. In that topic, we are preparing digital education also, digital literacy also. Question number 17. So though women in post-independence India have excelled in various fields, the social attitude toward women and feminist movement has been patriarchal. Apart from women education and women empowerment schemes, what intervention can help change this milieu? So here you have to understand, this is very conceptual question. Conceptual question, you have to understand status of women in India. Once you know status of women, the definitely status of women in India is very poor. Why it is poor? Because of patriarchal attitude of male, patriarchal attitude of society. That things you have to understand. So now we are focusing women education, we are focusing women empowerment. It's fine. You have to also mention apart from education and apart from women empowerment scheme, what measures we have to take to address this patriarchal problem. So one thing is, this question can be easily write when you are writing, you know about socialization, whatever we are studying in GS paper 4. Socialization, factor of socialization, factor of socialization. Here we have role of parents, role of family, role of teachers, role of peer groups, role of society, okay, role of movies, role of states. All the factors we can write which are going to change attitude of people. In that note, you can write this question very easily. Come to the question number 18. Can civil society and NGO present an alternative model to public service delivery to benefit the common citizen? Discuss the challenges of this alternative model. As of now, it is a state responsibility to provide public services to citizen, like state through its own governance model is providing public services like we have health, education, and various other services is provided by government to the citizens. Here you have to understand, can the role of government can be replaced Why civil society and NGOs. NGOs. Why UPSC have asked this particular question? We have seen multiple articles in Hindu newspaper regarding funding of NGOs and Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. So in that context, UPSC framed this particular question. So here you have to mention the challenges in present governance system we have. Challenges in the sense we have corruptions, we have favoritism, nepotism, we have multiple challenges governing system is facing as of now. To what extent these challenges can be addressed through civil society and the NGO? So you have to mention first challenges part, you have to mention significance also, and you have to mention issues in this model or challenges in this model, and then you have to give your own opinion in conclusion. Again this is direct questions because civil society and NGOs we have to study in our syllabus. You have to know role of the civil society in providing welfare to the people, and then what are the challenges we have. Funding is the one challenge we have as of now, and then how these challenges can be addressed. In that way you can write this particular question. We have like critically examine the aim and the objective of SCO. You know that if India want to connect with Central Asia, India want to connect with Central Asia, it means this Shanghai Cooperation Organization become very important for us. Okay, because in between we have this Pakistan and we do not have a very good relationship with Pakistan. So this SU provide a political tool where India can easily interact with Russia also, China also, Pakistan also, and Central Asian countries also. So this group or this organization is very important. Here you have to know the aim, you have to know the objective, and then critically examine also. In critically examine you have to know aim, objective, their significance for India, and the challenges part also, and then give your own opinion like how these challenges can be addressed by Indian government, like way forward. So this is not much difficult because it is an expected question, because we have seen multiple article regarding SCU in Hindu newspaper also and Indian Express also. About, like as I told, this is very known topic, AUKUS. Like we have seen multiple article regarding Quad, and now US is considering to replace Quad with Australia, UK and US. So definitely whenever we are replacing Quad with AU, KUS, automatically here India is there and here India is not there. So definitely it is compromise our strategic importance in Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean. Okay, so that way we have to understand it. So this is a very known question. So here is it is going to supersede existing partnership, means it is going to supersede Quad. That way we have to explain. We have to understand the objective of Quad, and we have to understand objective of AUKUS. If objectives are different, then it is not going to replace. If objectives are same, then it is going to replace. And that way we have to understand. Then discuss the strength. You have to mention the significance, impact of AUKUS in present scenario. Basically, to what extent it is going to reduce the influence of China. So again, this is not much difficult question because we have seen multiple articles regarding AUKUS. How, to what extent it is going to replace Quad, what are the objective of the Quad, what are the objective of AUKUS. So my final analysis of this paper is, one thing is whatever topics which are mentioned in our syllabus, you have good command over those topics. Like basics you have to prepare very well. You have to know basics topic like constitutional morality, fundamental right. They have asked equality, role of parliament to strengthen the democracy. To what extent role of parliament have reduced? It means whatever topics are self-help group, NGO, India's US relations, India's Central Asian relations, all those topics you have to know. Second thing, after preparing the topics which are mentioned in our syllabus, you have to link those topics with current affairs. Means current affairs become very important. This current affairs will give you the directions in this topic. You have to focus more. If AUKUS they have asked, you have to prepare it. If SU is going in the news, you have to prepare it. It means the topics which remain more than 10 days in the news, those topics become important. You have to link those topics with the syllabus. Now you have seen hate speech, it is going in the news from last 1 month. You have seen other articles also. So all those topics you have to prepare very well. Okay, then